Well, I've been making a succession of videos this evening, but I'm enjoying myself, so I'm going to keep doing it, I guess. Let me turn down the brightness here. Um, I feel disposed towards talking about politics, but I'm going to avoid it because it's just nasty. But I've had a thought. What I was on a plane recently, and I was overlooking the city I was flying over, and I always love looking out the plane because the view I mean, it's really fascinating. It's almost unreal in a way. You almost don't recognize the profundity of being so high up in the air and seeing the whole world, all of the buildings human. That almost came out like I don't even know, but all the all the building human make, all the buildings humans make. From that perspective, it's unusual. It kind of, not to make a pun, but it does put things in perspective in some way. But it's almost like unreal because the experience of sitting in a plane is so ritualized and it's like so normal. It's like, oh, you're getting in the plane, you're flying to this place, and then the world is kind of, it's like a screensaver almost. It doesn't feel real. But maybe this is the case I don't know, if you're like in a crop duster or something that has an open cockpit and you look around, you'd be like, holy shit, it really would be quite spectacular. Certainly the first plane rides were I imagine, quite a thrill. But it's almost unreal. And you can kind of recognize, no, it is real, it's true. But I was looking at the American heartland, okay, and we have, to be honest, some ugly buildings, but from the sky things look pretty. Especially if you're getting into like Appalachia, and all the green is quite nice. But I was like, man, I almost wonder if the U.S. is, firstly, architecturally at an early stage. We're not as dense, our cities are not as densely constructed as they are in Europe. And I wondered, like, in 200 years and 300 years, is this going to be different? Is it going to be like the density is almost akin to what goes on in Europe? Or some of the places where there aren't exactly super famous cities, are their cities going to actually become quite, famous, and are they going to be very culturally developed? Will they have, architectural feats, cultural institutions that are historically important in a big way, or will it not go that way? But I liked the fantasy of thinking, like, man, is it actually going to be what I'm looking at now, which is probably maybe more simple today than it will be tomorrow? Is it going to become, quite exciting? And then I start having these crazy thoughts that are maybe a little bit silly. But I was like, can you imagine if they were like, more commonly, imagine if culture. Here's the thing: if you were looking at a totally foreign culture, I wonder what impression you would get from it by seeing it from above. And I don't even mean foreign as in nationally foreign, that could be a part of it, but almost historically foreign. What would it look like if I was looking over, England at the start of the Industrial Revolution? How would it, what would I learn from seeing the world in that way, kind of overlooking it, seeing all the people, seeing the smokestacks, seeing houses accrue around industrial centers, seeing okay, I guess you wouldn't see automobiles at the start of the Industrial Revolution, but say it's further along, okay, get into the Second Industrial Revolution. To what extent are there automobiles? To what extent are there horses? To what extent? Where are the trains going? Where are they? How are they traveling? But what if I flew over ancient Greece and I saw like, an ancient amphitheater where people are performing a play? What if I saw that more commonly in the society? What can you guess about the interior lives of that population? Or is it like we have these kind of rough people who like seeing, violent displays simulated on the theater? Can I discern something of a spiritual difference in seeing a society from above? Can I pick up on these things from seeing it? Whereas if I look at the the sky, or pardon me, if I look from the sky to the ground of wow, my eye like flared up to the ground of in the U.S., it's almost like believable that it just seems, because everything is so standardized in terms of the architecture, and I can kind of cross-reference my own experiences where even if you're going to a rural area, culture is kind of similar, and it's mostly taking place online. It's not so much in person today. Sort of a standard set of ideas, and the economy, the buildings are constructed in such a manner as to facilitate middle class lifestyles and the purchasing of products at strip malls and department stores. I can this is unfair because I'm working with personal on the ground knowledge. So maybe if I came from ancient Greece and looked at 21st century America from the sky, maybe wouldn't have this impression. But I would be I think anyone would be like, man, these buildings are kind of simple, but there's also like so many vehicles and roads, or it's like quite a mechanistic utilitarian society. So it seems, even from a cursory glance. Would that be less obvious if you're looking at ancient Greece? It probably wouldn't strike the mind in that way. But I don't say this to romanticize the past in a kind of childish, fantastical manner. I was just thinking about it. All right. Anyways, it's dark as shit. I should probably stop. But I like, I haven't made videos in some time, so I like hearing myself talk. Maybe I'm wrong for that. I should keep quiet. I should shut up. But, all right. Peace out, everybody.